I have a friend, right? I actually have two friends.
No way.
Yeah, I know, right? One of whom has a podcast, right? That I'm not involved with in any way. And then I have another friend who knows that I have a podcast and knows that our friend has a podcast, right? But this other friend only listens to the other person's podcast, right? They don't listen to our podcast. And I was asking them about it. I said, well, why do you listen to their podcast and not my podcast? And he said, basically, you're not enough of a dick on the podcast, right? He was like, there needs to be more conflict. You need to have somebody who's kind of an asshole on the podcast. So taking that criticism and that information on board, I have decided that I'm going to be a real piece of shit for the next 300 episodes of the podcast. All right, I'm just going to be an asshole all the time.
Wow.
And hope that that makes the analytics go up, you know?
Have you considered that your one friend is just crazy and that's not what everybody looks for in a podcast?
Well, I had considered that, but then again, I'll give it a shot. I'll take one for the team, and I'll be a dick. Is that?
Yeah. I feel like this person hasn't listened to enough of our episodes, because I can assure you I am the dick of this podcast, and I've been plenty rude to you.
All right. You know what? Fair enough.
Go back and listen to Punk Rock Vampires.
Oh, do it.
And report back.
Oh, you will feel bad for me. You wouldn't think it'd be possible to feel bad for me, but you will. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Gloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell, Charles. I'm excited. Another pitch. Another day.
Another pitch.
We have
off
a new. This is our 240 off the cup episode.
Off the dome, baby.
Yep. So we gotta, come up with new idea, new idea for a TV show or movie off the top of our heads.
Off the top of our heads.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
Now, last week, which was about 12 seconds ago for us, I pitched the Yesterday Boys. Which is a show about
detectives.
time traveling detectives, that kind of stuff. And before that, you did like a superhero political drama thing.
Yeah.
So we can't do
either
no time travel, no political drama with superheroes, no superheroes.
No superheroes at all, no politics, no time travel. And I would even hazard a guess, no detectives, right? Like, because generally, both you and I have sort of the tendency to, when we can't come up with an idea, we're like, well, what if it's a detective and they smoke cigarettes and drive a cool car and solve crimes, you know? I mean, that's what we did with...
there's no story better than solving a mystery.
And mysteries are pretty great. They are the best kind of stories. But right now, I'm
feeling... I don't know what you're feeling right now, but I'm feeling sitcom.
Sitcom.
Are you feeling sitcom?
See, I am currently wearing cowboy boots, and so I was going to say Western, but the last sitcom we did was a Western sitcom.
It was a Western,
so
yeah.
I say we go sitcom. We just drop the cowboy thing, right? Sitcom, all right?
Okay.
First things first, we got to come up with a setting, right, for our sitcom to take place in. Setting's the most important thing. No, it's not, but it's one of the...
We did present time recently, and we've done... Well, the past, we can do past, but we'll have to be selective.
Yeah, we gotta be smart about it, because we can't, I feel like we can't do Western, we can't do medieval times, right? I feel like European history, we do a lot of, if we're doing the past, I think we have to set it in a place that we don't tend to go, right? Like an Aztec temple, you know? Like, what if we did a sitcom in Aztec?
Well, we gotta be careful here, Charlie. Let's do something that I know enough about that I can.
You can check our historical accuracy.
I have to be able to flagship it.
Fair enough.
So, and the Aztecs, we don't have a whole lot of information on them, so it'd be difficult. We could also do future.
Could do future.
Future's okay.
Future is solid.
Space is okay.
Alternate reality. We could do a post-apocalyptic.
Totally valid.
I've been thinking a lot about post-apocalypse stuff because Little bit behind the scenes stuff. I have a title for next week already, and I have been working on it, and I was gonna set it in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. I changed my mind about that, but that was my initial idea. So I have been bandying about this idea of like a post-apocalyptic wasteland where everyone traverses through sails, right? But like land sails, so the ground, like all over the earth, is kind of toxic. You can't really touch it, but everybody's on like wind surfboards or like catamarans or whatever, and they like use these massive sails to pull these big land ships across like vast open reaches of nothingness, right? Of like sand or dunes or whatever.
Okay, we can't do sand because people do that too
People
much.
do sand all the time.
I like the idea of a sitcom on a land ship thing.
I
That's
thought that
going
would be
across
cool.
the world, and the world is destroyed.
Yeah.
I like that idea. We can't do sand though, because it's overdone. People do sand all the time.
Can't do sand.
You know, Mad Max,
Yeah.
other
Fallout,
shows. About, it's always sand. Why is it
yeah.
always sand? You know, stop being sand. We could do.
Maybe it's grass. Like maybe the planet looks like this beautiful
Ooh, what is,
green.
like toxic grass.
Yeah. It's like beautiful and green and verdant and alive. But if you touch the grass, it's like little knives made out of like acid, and it like melts you until you're dead, you know? And we could say that we can do some hand wavy bullshit like, oh, there was some cross contamination at the CDC's like Center for Disease Center, right? The Center for Disease Control's Disease Control Center has had some cross contamination. They got this crazy acid grass everywhere, right? That kills you immediately.
Oh, okay, but I think it should be like different regions. So maybe like the ocean area is this grass, and the grass we can call like like either we can call it like the Great Plains or something like that, like the big ocean,
the moors.
That is this middling area, and maybe the grass. Because I think the toxic thing will be good, but we should do that for another region. I think the grass should be like shards of, like very sharp shards of glass, essentially.
Okay.
Like if you fall into it, you'll just get like impaled, and it goes down so long and forever into so many shards you can't even see what's down there. It's just you'll be impaled and destroyed, and it's none of it is breakable. So if your ship hits it, it'll just tear straight through your ship. You know, you'll be going down Titanic style. The rest of it we can have like these toxic acidic. Like different regions that represent like different,
different parts of the world.
Chaotic elements in this world. We'll have big vine-ish arm things that will like kind of like sea monsters will like jump, sort of lay on top of a ship and like burn through the hull and stuff like that with like its acidicness.
Could have
things like that.
Like in the Sahara, the grass has like pierced through all of the sand, and so the grass is maybe like it's superheated the sand in some way, and so you just have seas and seas of glass, like, and underneath the glass you can see the grass just like wriggling and withering underneath of it, you know? Maybe something like that in the deserty parts of the world, you know. And we could have.
No, I like that.
We'll have like a.
So our crew would be like the people in the land ship, right? For this,
Yeah.
They need like a purpose. I think the show should be their journey, right? I like doing journey shows.
I do too. I mean, that is what my episode for next week is. It's a journey show.
So it, well, I get because I don't want to jump on your next show. So maybe it's like maybe the whole show isn't a single journey, but.
Well, I'm like maybe
it sort of falls into that, you know? It's initially just one trading mission, and they all seem not related, but they slowly become related, and there's all this whole maybe this plot to like maybe they're trying to build, or they're unknowingly help build some sort of horrific weapon, or maybe they're helping build like a floating city above the chaos, I was chaos thinking on the ground. Maybe
like our sitcom, right? We have our crew, and it's every crew, right? It's a ragtag group of people who you wouldn't think get along, but they form a sort of like found family situation because they each balance each other's bad behaviors out, right? Firefly, Red Dwarf, all of it, right? And they are like a standard merchant vessel and they trade, and you get to, in the pilot, you get to see the mechanics of how this world works, and you have one member of the crew who is created simply to be killed, and he falls off, and you see what the grass does to people, and eventually they, like, come upon this, like, somewhat like a child or an old person, like somebody who has, like, otherworldly knowledge, and this person exclaims that they know of a safe land, like they know of a place where grass is soft, right?
Oh, I see it, yeah.
And so, like, at the beginning of the show, you have all of our characters who are totally, like, cynical and they disinterested and apathetic because they've lived their entire lives in this world where they're surrounded by death. And slowly but surely, like, as they follow this prophet's, you know, instruction about how to get to soft grass, like, they slowly all become more like optimistic and hopeful about the future because they have the influence of this, like, seemingly untouched person, right? So I think it has to be a child, right? Like a 12-year-old girl, and maybe she comes from, like, outer space, right? Like her fucking pod lands in the grass and it's being swallowed up by the endless sea of razor sharp blades, and, like, a last minute decision, the crew decides to save her and they pull her up on board and they open up the thing and she comes out and she's, like, in a fucking space suit and all this shit. She's like, ugh.
Oh, okay. So, like, maybe instead of, like, they think it's like salvage, right? They see the asteroid crash and they think that they can, you know, they can get some material from this, so they'll, like, lift it up into the boat, and they'll be, like, half disappointed, half just so fucking surprised because there's a kid inside rather than a, you know, loot or something that they can use. I don't know. Do you want to do, like, a chaotic first, like, opening to the show where, like, we have a crew that's maybe a bigger ship and a crew that's bigger, and, like, and if for some, whether they're in a fight with, like, a pirate crew or they're getting destroyed by the like, you know, some sort of creature from the earth, or maybe both. I mean,
that'd be a pretty badass opening.
And this is where we lose, like, you know, 90% of the crew, and they end up jumping onto like a smaller ship, and they, you know, are going out into sea, and you know, they're worrying they don't have enough material, they don't have, you know, they lost all their loot, you know, they lost a lot of their stuff, and that's when they see, like, the shooting star or whatever, and they chase it in the night, going closer and closer, you know, like, they think that maybe, you know, there'll be some salvage from this, and this could help make up for, you know, all their loss, and they can take this to the next, you know, trade station, and at least, you know, have some money to make up for this journey and help, you know, repair their damaged ship. And they get there and they find the child instead.
I think that's a great, because I was initially, when I was thinking this would be more like a regular sitcom, I was like, what if it's a crew on a Star Trek Lower Deck situation where there's this massive city and they are just, like, working at the bottom of it. But I do think that would be a good idea for an opening, that you show this, like, incredible feat of engineering, right? And all this stuff, and then you, like, show it be systematically taken down by, like, a sea creature that bumps them, and then, like, they shoot it with harpoons, and then it comes up and fucking rips people in half and stuff, and pirates coming aboard, and we get our crew, and they save as many people as they can. They're on, you know, a much smaller boat that becomes, like, our setting, right? It becomes their home, and they are, like, and then they're kind of worried about that. Maybe a few days go by, right? They're just drifting, and they're like, we're, you know, starting to lose the wind, right? If this boat goes into the grass, we're done for, right? We need some more blank and more food and more water, right? Energy for the fan that keeps the fucking thing moving, I guess. Something like that. And then they see the thing crash, and then they pull the little girl out of the pod, right? And that's when we drop the title sequence, you know? Title sequence. We do have to come up with the title for the thing at some point.
Softlands Ahead.
Softlands. I think the Softlands or Softlands Ahead. I like both of those. Or Softlands just by themselves. But I think Softlands Ahead is the best. Is a winner, you know? And maybe
Well, we'll come up with more stuff as we go.
Maybe the little girl, like
first things.
so I'm assuming we'll find out throughout the series that the little girl comes from like a colony in outer space, right? And they're like this people that live on a satellite that orbits around Earth. Maybe it was like a satellite that was there when the collapse happened, right? And so these people have just survived for decades.
And they've been like living
and so
up
maybe
there.
she's even a little bit like differently evolved, you know? Because, you know, we don't obviously know from actual science what would happen if somebody was born in space. But there's tons of science fiction, speculative evolution and stuff like that we can draw on. And she's got like a different language. So maybe she's like trying to communicate to them. And so that's why it's kind of difficult. But she eventually communicates to them, Softland, like, I can take you to Softland because I know what the fucking planet looks like because I've been staring at it for my entire life, you know? And I'm 8 years old, but I'm a TV show 8-year-old, so I'm weirdly competent and intelligent because people don't know how children work, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have like one character who's on the ship who's like her caregiver of sorts, and she's like, maybe we have at the beginning of the show people like throw her overboard, eat her, kill her, take out like we can't stand to have more people on this thing. We don't have enough supplies, and then you have one person, probably like some big burly dude or something like that, and he's like protecting her and he's making sure that she's okay, you know, and all this stuff. And so
we should call him Nox.
Yes, I like that.
Big burly man. I don't know. Maybe he shouldn't be the captain, but he should be like the muscle.
He's like the
crew.
chief, like engineer or something like that. Like he's important, but he's not.
There shouldn't be a captain because I think maybe like whoever the captain was of the main boat was kind of the reason they all died, and so they like refused to, you know, they refused to make a captain. The
reason, like the captain of the main ship, like, was a fucking moron who got everyone killed, and one of the people who survived was his son, right? And so he's on the ship as well, and he's like, I should be captain, because in this world captains are like a monarchy because everyone lives on ships.
Yeah, it's like a hereditary position.
Everyone is like at first a little resigned to just like, fine, he has to be captain, and then they all kind of realize that there's no reason that he should just be given captainship, right? Like he actually has to earn it, and so maybe that's kind of a subplot throughout the entire show.
Oh, like him sort of earning the title. Maybe he's also like the navigator. That's kind of his one sort of cling to power. Is he like, while the little girl like knows kind of where they're supposed to go, he's the only one that knows like how to avoid certain routes. Like his dad taught him like how to navigate
the seas, the great grass sea, the great green sea.
What should his name be?
Lionel. Fucking asshole. Yeah. And maybe he, like, gains a sort of, like, tentative respect for the captain, right, Nox? Or maybe he, like, is planning a mutiny and he's trying to, like, get people. You know, we could take it one of two ways. Either Lionel could learn his lesson or become a villain, right?
I suppose I was thinking we would go like the nice route where he like he starts off as sort of like the like a dick, and maybe he even gets like cast away from the crew and we have to like follow his
like Zuko from fucking Avatar: The Last Airbender, right?
Yeah, he's Zuko.
Great. I was also thinking Nox should have like on his arm and like on one half of his face, he has like scars from the sea. You know, from the grass, right? Like he fell in but was saved.
Oh, he's got like
and
cuts
so
from
he's
the
like
grass. Yeah, and that's like a serious sign of respect, maybe as well. Like people when people see those cuts, they're like,
nobody goes in the grass and lives, and he lived.
Man.
Like this guy is fucking serious, you know?
Yeah, he'll have a moment later where they have to they have to go a super dangerous route or something, and they need like the support of another crew, or they need like permission from somebody, and they'd be like, no one survives the crash, y'all just die, this is a pointless crew thing, and he'll like roll up his sleeve and be like, we can, we've got this. Like,
I've got this handled.
I've done it before.
Me and
blah,
Payne
blah, blah.
are old friends. Some badass
slams his fist or like his bicep on the table, and you can see like that massive scar running along it. I've sailed.
I know what I'm fucking doing, meat.
I know.
And he punches him in the face. And he smokes a cigar.
Yeah.
I don't know where he gets cigars from, but he smokes them.
Then I think we have Myro. She'll be like the lookout kind of person. Like she'll
and
be
maybe
up in the
she's
crow's
like
nest.
maybe she's
like
like
a
14. Like Myro's young, so that the little girl has like someone she can latch onto.
As like a friend.
Yeah,
like
who's
an
not
friend.
a 40-year-old man.
Yeah, maybe he's slightly older. Maybe like 16, so she could be like because if this girl's 8 and this girl's like 16, then it's like she's
sister.
Like the older, the much older sister that she like really looks up to.
And Myro's like,
and she's like 16. Then she can be like sort of useful as well to the crew.
Yeah, it feels less like child endangerment
without being like
than
ridiculous.
if she was 14.
Yeah, 14, it's like we can't have her fight people. 16, it's like,
if somebody trains hard enough at 16, they could beat up an adult man, But there's no 14-year-old on the planet Earth
I don't know about that.
who could beat me up. I'm pretty confident in saying that. I'll fight any 14-year-old.
I guarantee there's some 14-year-old football stars that would absolutely
because I'll be like, hey, guess what? I can drive a car, and I'm gonna drive my car over to your house and fuck your mom, and then they will be so shocked that they fall over in sadness.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. Anyway, so we have the muscle, we have the lookout, we have the navigator. What are other important C roles? Do we need like a doctor?
Oh, you do need a doctor, and you need a first mate, right? So maybe we have.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I think give Knox like a little buddy who is kind of like a clinger on, and he's kind of annoying, but Knox kind of just puts up with him because maybe he was friends with his father or something like that. Like a slightly annoying little guy who is like shorter than Myra, but is like in his 30s,
Willie.
Willie.
Call him Willie.
Willie.
And
I could hear Knox yelling that.
Willie's he's the guy that can put his hand in small places. He can do all the sort of squirrely jobs. He can, he's kind of he's a little weird, but he's well-meaning.
The crew call him Rat Face because he's ugly and he looks like a rat.
Willie. His name's Willie or
Ratty
is what they'll call him.
Because maybe he's also always wearing ratty clothes. And he's like...
I think the doctor should be also be a cook.
Oh, that's good. Like the old-fashioned like barbers were also dentists. I like that the doctor is like... And I think he should take after a cook much more than he should take after a doctor.
Oh, you just gave me a great name for this. So he's the doctor / cook, but his name is Bob.
That's great. That's fun. I like that a lot. That's a lot of fun, actually. Yeah, and he's like a big, loud dude. He's always got a fucking wife beater on with its stains on it, right? And he's got like ugly-ass chef shoes, and he's got cleavers and shit, and he's missing a few fingers, right? But he's also like medical genius. He's like Dr. fucking House. He can like diagnose you just by looking at you. Yeah. But he's very much like, he's more interested in cooking, maybe. And because like rations are so hard to come by in this universe, he's so like, he's excited to use anything and everything as an ingredient, which leads to meals being like made with like grease and like oil and shit, like shit you just find like accumulating on walls of ships, He's like, I'll add a little bit of color to my tiramisu,
Yeah.
And it's all, his food's like middling, but he's just such a good doctor that they can't get someone else in to cook.
Yeah. It's like, it's good in like a medical, it's good like...
it's like nutritious, but it's not something that you would ever want to eat.
Not the most flavorful stuff.
It's like that shit from the Matrix. So they're like, everything a body needs.
Or maybe it's because they're so limited in resources. Maybe it's just like so on the border of being something that they can eat.
Yeah.
You know, because they, you know, it's so hard for them to find food. So he's getting stuff that's like, you know, really cheap, and it's really on the edge of something that you actually
edible food,
can digest and consume. Yeah.
But
I think we need a sniper or a
violence person,
and I think that should be Paulus, and she should be. I don't know anything more about her besides sniper and demolition.
French. She's got a French accent, and maybe she has an eye patch, right? And she puts the sniper scope to the eye that has the eye patch. That's her thing.
Oh, and maybe she's Myro's older sister.
Much older. Like Myro's 16. This woman is like in her 40s. And Myro is just really insistent that she's her sister. And what was her name?
Oh, they're not actually.
Hollis.
Yeah, Paulus.
And Hollis is like... Oh, Paulus. Is kind of like...
We call her maybe Polish because
she's so good at her job.
Well, you know, good sniper.
Yeah. And she's kind of like, we could be sisters, I guess, but like, my mom was 30 when she had me. She must have been like 55 when she had you. That's, and also, what would be the odds? It's not like they met on the ship, you know, and maybe they have.
I mean, it could be like. Like stepsisters, like her, or not
half sisters,
half sisters. Like
they have matching birthmarks, and so that's her only like evidence that they are actually sisters. But like towards the end of the first season, they'll go into a town and they'll meet like the preacher of the town, and he's like a large, powerful, generous man, and he has the same birthmark. And he reveals that they are actually half-sisters, and that he was a famous pirate who traveled the great, grass sea. But I gave up that life long ago to be closer to God, that sort of thing. And it could be a family reunion of sorts. And then they keep going because they have to get to Softland.
The Softlands, hell yeah. So that's their whole journey, is finding this supposed place where there is actual land. So most of like the settlements and things they'll find throughout are like they're like how Venice is like built on poles and stuff above above the water. It's like that, or it's like a ship that's constantly moving, but it's really big.
Yeah,
it's like
they have to catch it.
So they'll have to catch it, and they'll have like a map that essentially tells them like when. Like about, when, like what the stars have to look like when this ship is
maybe they have a map that has no land mass on it, but it's just currents. It's just wind currents, right? And so their map is totally, you and I can't fucking read it because we can't read that, but they can read wind currents the same way we read a regular map, And
I think that's the whole point of Lionel, is that Lionel has, maybe there's multiple maps. There's wind current maps, there's star maps, there's maps that show like the movements of like the Earth's like sectors of like all these places and how it all connects. And he's the only one that really fully understands
all of the maps and how they work.
The sort of the science and the math behind it all, and like how it sort of works in the universe. Nox maybe has like a sort of intuitive knowledge of it. But he doesn't fully understand everything as it.
Nox doesn't measure things when he cooks. Lionel is all about measuring cups, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Softlands.
Yeah.
Do you have any other episode ideas?
So Nox can get like an approximate location of things, but if you really want to get there, Lionel is the one that.
And there's probably some cool like crazy steampunk mechanism version of the Earth that Lionel like can plug all of his calculations into to figure things out. Something cool that we could sell.
Yeah, it would be cool if he had like some map room or like this big device that sort of projects things, and he's like doing all these calculations, trying to figure out where things are.
I like that. I was imagining this as kind of a steampunky universe. No digital technology, but people still like have hot water and coffee and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that too. There's, they have guns, but they're kind of like weird looking.
Like
they're
closer to flintlock
kind of
pistols, and
musket-y
muskets and shit than they are to like machine guns or anything like that. And bullets are really hard to come by.
But it's like you can see like the fire like ignite, like you can see like a little container that like lights on fire and like almost like boils the bullet out of the gun.
Yeah.
Like it looks crazy kind of stuff.
And yeah, I like the show, Softlands. I think this is probably one of our better Off the Dome episodes.
I like this idea too. I mean, we could have a lot of fun with like, the journey up till they get to the. Do you think that the Softlands? What do you think it should end? Do you think they should get to the Softlands? Do you think the Softlands are fake? Do you think the real Softlands was the friends they made along the way?
I kind of think it should be the ending of Waterworld, where Nox gets everyone there, and he like enjoys the Softland for a minute, right? But then he realizes like, I'm not built for this, Like maybe a day or two passes, maybe a week passes, and he's just like yearning to be back on the sea, And so he and Polis, I feel like Polis should probably go with him, and maybe a few other people, maybe Barber the cook, are like, we will, bring you guys supplies. We will be back. We will tell people of this place, but this is not a place for us. We are ruined by the sea. Like this is our destiny, is to travel the world across the great grass sea. Like we can't stop ourselves, And so we like watch our younger Lionel, and maybe Lionel like kind of takes up the like position of leader after he's earned it. So Lionel and the little girl, and what was her name? The watch out, I forget her name, Melrose. Myro. Yeah.
Myro?
Melrose. I was close. Myro and like a few others stay behind, and they begin building up what will be the first like great city of this new world,
Yeah. No, I like
yeah, because I think that's sweet.
I also thought of another idea while you were saying that, because I thought you were about to go one way and then you didn't. So just to say what it was, I thought you were going like you were going to go the Moses route, or is it Moses? Moses, right? Where he sees the promised land, but he can't go. So like it would be like they would get into some sort of fight right before they get to the Softlands, or where they think the Softlands is. And Nox sort of sacrifices himself for the crew so that they can get through whatever, horrible thing, like horrible monster or something sort of blocks off the Softlands. Because there's got to be like something crazy. And the ship will make it to the other side, and it's just calm waters, or like calm sailing from that, onward from them. But the last shot of the show will be Nox's body just like gently swaying onto like the shore of the
Softlands.
Of this, we don't actually see anything of the Softlands except for this tiny shot of the shore, and his body just is like mangled, tired, broken body. It's scarred even more from the shards and the grass,
washes up,
and it's lying on the safe shores.
Finally. And then Nox picks his head up and he looks, and it's the Statue of Liberty. Oh my god!
Shit. I didn't realize it was Planet of the Apes.
Crazy ending.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do that.
That would be fun to have the Statue of Liberty.
We could, but not the Statue of Liberty. It's like something.
It's the Colossus of Rhodes. They rebuilt it before the world ended. That would be cool.
Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like
think
the show.
Fun too.
Fun.
I would watch this show.
Softlands.
I definitely watch it, and I would be like, when are they going to do a season 2? And I'm like, it's kind of not built for a season 2. It's kind of built to be a one-off thing. But we could do a season 2. We could squeeze in like a prequel series or whatever. Nox, how he lost his eye. I figured Nox had an eye patch, by the way. I don't know if I said that.
No, you did not.
I figured he had.
We can't do too many eye patches because the sniper already has an eye patch.
Already. You can't do that.
Polish,
you're right. Nox doesn't have an eye patch.
You'd have like a sort of like a masky thing, maybe like, maybe it's like half his cheek is sort of torn out from like when he got injured by the.
I wanted the reveal
the grass, and so he has like a sort of like a painted.
Oh, like a face mask, like in Boardwalk Empire with that guy who lost half his face in World War One. I was thinking maybe he's got a shard of grass that is just embedded in his eyeball, right? And so he can look around, but he can't see anything with it. It sticks out maybe like a millimeter out of his eye, right? That's what I was thinking. Which is pretty fucked up and gross, but also fun and cool. Yeah.
Maybe we do the jaw thing for him, and we do that glass shard thing with the snipers, and she already has an eye patch. And the eye patch is like, it conceals that, so that we'll see that at some point later.
Maybe they're captured, and they're like, you have to
kill somebody.
You know, you have to take off all your clothes, right? And she's like, takes off everything except the eye patch, and they're like that too. And then it's like a reveal.
No. Maybe they let her keep it, and that's how she breaks out. She uses the shard that's in her eye to like
picks her lock. That's sick. That's cool.
So like they'll search her like, you know, grab all of her stuff and you know, and you know, kidnap her and stuff, and then she'll like, you know, use her eye to pick the lock on the handcuff.
Badass, gross, absolutely cool. Yeah, I like the show. I like the show a lot, actually. Softlands. Well, thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me as always has been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Bloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, tell your cat, and remember, we will be here next week with a brand new televisual series for you to enjoy imagining, and that show will be titled... I'm drum rolling, Jake, and what's the title? What's the title for my next show? The audience doesn't know the title. I know the title. Yeah, it's called Byron on the Moors. I was waiting for Jake to say it because he gave me the title, but he didn't.
I'm confused because I thought we were gonna lie and pretend like we were gonna select the title now.
I said I already started. Byron on the Moors. Seriously, audience members who listen.
Yeah. Byron on the Moors. Great title. BYRON on the Moors. MOORS. Clearly easy
I changed
title.
it, by the way.
Charlie should have this. No problem.
I changed it to Byron on the Moor. MORE. I hope that's okay. Nah, well, too fucking bad.
Why do of course, that's fine. I've changed several of your titles. First and fucking last place.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.